Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling one of Indonesia's most critical challenges. How do we secure our food supply for the future? It's a massive question of survival, and the answer, well, it might be found right in our own backyard.
More than 70 years ago, our first president, Sukarno, laid it out in the plainest terms possible. This isn't just about economics or policy. Securing our food supply is about our very survival as a nation.
And today, that question has never been more urgent. The answer isn't simple, of course, but it starts by understanding the journey that brought us here, so we can forge a much more resilient path forward.
Okay, so let's get into it. To figure out where we're going, we first need to get a handle on the history that brought us to this point, and it's a really complex story of power, policy, and production in Indonesia's fields.
You see, our agricultural history is really a series of trade-offs. The colonial cultivation system focused on exports, but it came at the expense of our farmers. The Green Revolution? Sure, it gave us more rice, but at the cost of becoming dependent on chemicals. Each step forward, it seems, came with a hidden price tag, leaving a complicated legacy we're still dealing with.
So all this history has shaped where we are right now, an agricultural system that is, honestly, often fragile. Our reliance on imported stuff makes us vulnerable to shocks in the market and, of course, to climate change. It's pretty clear the old playbook just won't be enough to handle the challenges of tomorrow.
So if the old ways won't work, where do we find new solutions? The answer isn't in some high-tech lab or a foreign country. It's actually in one of our greatest national assets, what you could call our living treasure.
We are talking about biodiversity. And look, this isn't just some abstract environmental concept. Think of it more like a vast living library of solutions, a natural treasure chest that's just waiting to be unlocked.
Just let this number sink in for a moment. 17%. Indonesia, we take up just over 1% of the Earth's land, but we are home to an absolutely staggering 17% of all known species on the entire planet. That's just incredible.
Let's actually break that down a bit. We are the stewards of 37% of the world's fish species, 17% of its birds, and 11% of its flowering plants. This is way more than just a point of national pride, right? It makes Indonesia a true global epicenter of life. And here's the kicker. This biodiversity isn't just for conservation. It's an intensely practical toolkit for our future. It holds the potential for new kinds of foods, powerful medicines from unique microbes, sources of renewable energy, and sustainable materials. This is the raw material for real innovation.
Okay, so we have this incredible natural wealth. The big question then is, how do we actually harness it to build a modern agricultural system that can withstand all the pressures of climate change?
Well, there's a globally recognized path forward. It's a framework that was first introduced by the Food and Agriculture Organization way back in 2010, and it's called Climate Smart Agriculture, or CSA for short.
The power of the CSA approach is really in its three pillars. They all work together. It's about achieving a triple win. First, sustainably boosting productivity and farmer incomes. Second, building resilience to climate shocks like floods and droughts. And third, actively reducing agriculture's own environmental footprint, all at the same time.
So this represents a really fundamental shift in thinking. The whole idea is to move away from that fragile monoculture model, the one that relies heavily on chemical inputs, and move towards a diverse system that works in harmony with nature, not against it.
All right, let's get specific. What does this integrated, climate-smart approach actually look like on the ground for the future of farming here in Indonesia?
The practical goal is to build what's known as a LISA system, and the name really says it all: low external input. It's about creating farms that are more self-reliant, reducing the need to buy expensive and potentially harmful chemical inputs from outside.
And this is where it gets really clever. Integrated farming combines different activities. So imagine a farm where livestock waste fertilizes the crops and crop residue feeds the animals. Or think of the classic Indonesian example of mina padi, where fish are raised in the same paddies as rice. The fish eat pests and their waste fertilizes the rice, creating a closed-loop system that's more productive and way more efficient.
A great way to think about a successful integrated farm is through the 4 F's. It should produce food for people, feed for its animals, fuel from its biomass, and fertilizer from its waste. It becomes a complete, self-sustaining ecosystem.
And this all leads to a powerful conclusion. We have to abandon the old idea that feeding our people and protecting our environment are competing goals. They aren't. They are two sides of the same coin.
A healthy ecosystem is the very foundation of a productive and resilient food system.
So, to wrap up this explainer, let's think about what it truly takes to bring this incredible vision for Indonesian agriculture to life. You know, this ancient wisdom from Hippocrates has never been more relevant. It reminds us that our health as individuals and as a nation is directly connected to the quality, the diversity, and the sustainability of the food we grow and eat.
And that, at the end of the day, is the challenge and the opportunity before us. It's not about choosing the past or the future, it's about blending the two. Combining generations of local knowledge, like Minapati, with modern innovations in science and technology to secure a healthy and abundant harvest for all the generations to come.